Hello and welcome to today's lesson. Thank you very much for joining. I hope everyone is well. I know that today I am earlier by an hour. Unfortunately, I had to move the lesson forward by an hour. And hopefully people, we did put that out. Hopefully most people saw it so they can join and watch us and join in today's lesson. I'm just going to share the video. I mean, the good thing about YouTube is, unlike a normal lesson, is that if you have to change the time for whatever reason, no problem. If people can't make it, if people can't watch, they can always watch the video later. So that is definitely one of the advantages of YouTube. LVScom says, good afternoon, Richard. How is your Friday? Thank you very much, LVScom. My Friday? It's okay, I suppose. The weather's nice-ish. I think the weather's okay. The weather's okay. Hello for all. Yes, Irina. Hello. How are you, Irina? I hope you are well. So, guys, there is a new video, a short bite size, which is a short video. There's a short video that we uploaded around lunchtime today. It's part 2. Hi, Alejandra. Thank you so much for joining. Lovely to see you here. And yes, it's a video. Now, it doesn't matter what level you are, you can watch the video. It is designed for pre-intermediates, and it certainly will help pre-intermediates with some vocabulary and use of comparisons as well. So we've got part 1 and part 2. There will be a part 3. Well, there is actually a part 3 to that video, and you'll be able to see that video sometime next week. Leondina says, hi, Richard. Hi, Leondina. Thank you very much for joining the lesson today. So, what is today's lesson about? Well, it's how to make your point in English. It doesn't need to be in the context of an argument, but you are talking, you are trying to explain something, and sometimes trying to explain something can be a little bit different. So we are going to look at language that can help you explain what the thing that you are trying to explain. We can go from different topics. We'll go from we will look at trying to explain a normal problem to perhaps talking about something a little bit more complicated as well. It's good to see so many people are watching. So that means even though we changed the time, people have seen it. So I'm really pleased. Thank you very much. Next week, the lesson should be back to 4 o'clock. It's just for today. I think that will just be at 3 o'clock. So how to make your point in English. Okay. This is the first phrase that everybody needs to know when trying to explain your point, okay? And that is, what I'm saying is, okay? What I'm saying is, and sometimes you can always reply with saying, so what you're saying is ... This language structure we often put at the start of our sentence, whether we are trying to explain something or if we are trying to show that we understand what someone is saying, for example. And this is what we would call, I suppose the only word I can think of is clarify. But I'm trying to think of a way of explaining that as well. I don't want to use too many new things here. Make clear. That's what clarify is. Okay, it's you are trying to trying to clarify something. Okay, now clarify is to make something clear. So let's say we've got a problem and we're going to go with a normal problem that we probably can all think of. Let's say, okay, let's say it's a problem in where we live. It's a maintenance problem, for example. Evelina says, good afternoon, Evelina. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you live, your house, renting a house, there's always going to be some work that needs to be done in the place. So um, let's say there's a problem with your pipes. Okay, so there's a leak. The tap, for instance, the tap, okay, or where the water comes out, that is a tap. Okay, so let's think of something as normal as that. Okay. When there's water, and it doesn't matter if you try to stop the water still comes. There's a leak. We call the tap is leaking, for example. Okay, the tap is leaking. The tap is leaking. Now, let's say you don't know the word leak. Okay, let's say you don't know the word leak, and this is part of what I'm trying to help you with. When you don't know the word you need, this is how you need to try and explain, and this is where we're going to see it. So leak is when water is coming out of somewhere when it shouldn't. Okay, so that's a leak. Sometimes you can have a big leak, sometimes you can have a small leak. But let's say you do not know the word leak, and you are on the phone and you are trying to explain that there's this problem with the tap. Okay, so then we think of the tap. Okay, the tap. What is the problem? So you can say, what I'm saying is that when I switch off the water, water still comes out. Okay. A very good exercise is when you learn new vocabulary that tries to explain something, can you explain it in simple terms? And that is one of the most important things when you try to explain yourself, try to make your point. Can you try and always make it simpler and simpler and simpler? Because one of the things that can happen is as you try to learn new vocabulary, you can easily become confused. You sometimes might not be able to remember the word that you are looking for. This is when we need to try and think to ourselves, can I explain the problem in simple terms? Okay, and that's what we're looking for. Let's go with another problem, okay? Let's say we've got another type of problem that can happen. Okay, problems with the bathroom. There's always a problem with the bathroom at some point. Okay, let's say it's hot water, for example, hot or cold water. Okay, my challenge to you guys is this. I am going to try and I'm going to explain the problem, but I want you guys in the live chat to try and explain the problem in an easier way. So I'm going to put it in a way that is perhaps not in its simplest form. So this is the challenge. Can you make whatever I write simpler? But you need to start with what I am saying is. Okay, so you do need to start your sentence with what I am saying is. So what is the problem that I'm going to talk about? So And okay, so here we go, guys. This is your challenge, okay? The boiler is malfunctioning and the temperature. Oh, no, let me rewrite that. I've just realized I've made a mistake. Apologies, apologies. Let's try again. Okay, so, and the temperature. Okay, so the boiler is malfunctioning and the temperature of the water is off. What am I doing? Silly Richard, why did you not take away that? And the temperature of the water is off. So the boiler is malfunctioning and the temperature of the water is off. Now, I know that there might be one or two words there that might not be in your vocabulary. However, there is clearly a problem with the water and there's a problem with the temperature of the water when you try to have a shower, when you try to wash your hands, when you try to wash dishes. Whenever you turn on the tap, the water does not come out at the right temperature. So, can you guys make this easier? Remember, you need to put in what I'm saying is. Now, the great thing about an example like this is it doesn't matter what your level is. You could be upper intermediate, you could be elementary. If we understand what we are trying to talk about, we can all have a go at making the sentence easier. But we need to start our sentence with what I'm saying is. Now, from here, we'll go on to talk about different problems or different things as well. But I just wanted to start off with something that we can all, that we know we can all understand: a problem in the house, a problem at home. So the boiler, now, the boiler, by the way, is the thing. Now, that's another thing. You can always replace an object with the word thing, by the way. So the boiler is a thing that the water goes through and you can change the temperature. It's what allows you to change the temperature of water. Leondina says, what I'm saying is that when I try to have a shower and I turn the tap, water comes cold instead of warm. Okay, excellent, Leondina. So what did you do well there? One, you started off your sentence with what I'm saying is. Great. Two, yes, you gave a good example with the shower, and the example is very clear. Are there one or two small little errors? Yes, but I'm not going to look at them because they're not too important in terms of what we're going for. If you want me to tell you what the little mistakes are, just ask me and I will tell you. But what I want to concentrate on is the fact that you managed to do the task correctly. What I'm saying is, you gave a good, simple example, and the last bit, it's very clear what you're talking about. When you want the water to be warm, it is cold. So there's something wrong there. So very well done, Leodina. Excellent. Great start. Let's see if anyone else can come in with maybe trying to write a similar sentence. Maybe want to try and make it slightly different. But really well done, Leodina. That's a great start. I'd like to know what my mistake is. Okay, your mistake is just here towards the end. When I try to have a shower and whoa, okay. So when so when I try to have a shower and because this is just a typo, you put J instead of I turn the tap, water comes out cold instead of warm. So this is a really, I told you, this is a really, really small mistake. It's the preposition, comes out cold. If you don't want to use the preposition, you could say, the water is cold instead of warm. So it was nearly perfect. And like I said, it was really, really small. It is such a small mistake, which is why I didn't, I wanted to ask you before correcting it, because it's such a small mistake. But just remember, comes out. That is the preposition that goes with comes when we're talking about liquid. Okay. Irina says, what I'm saying is that water splashes from a crane like a volcano. Maybe, maybe. When you say crane, let me just see if I have understood you correctly. Oh, I see what you mean. A water crane. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood what you meant. Okay, a water crane. We'd put water crane before crane. By the way, it was my real dialogue with the handyman last year in Malta. Excellent, Irina. In which case, this is a very relevant topic. Okay, guys, so this is off to a fantastic start. Now, let's make this a little bit more complicated, okay? Now we're going to talk about traveling, and we're going to talk about a problem with booking, okay? So let's have a little go and see if we can solve this problem. What I'm saying is, okay, now, again, we're going to go with the same example, but this time I'm going to introduce you to a different phrase. So this first time round, we were looking at what I'm saying is. This is our new phrase that we can now add, okay? Let me try to explain. Let me try to explain, okay? This is a good phrase we can use. You're having a conversation, maybe over the phone, over WhatsApp. Yes, you can use this. It is informal, so I wouldn't use it with when writing. I would be, yeah, writing an email, not so much, but when speaking over the phone, definitely, or in person. One moment, sorry. Can you close your door? Okay. So let me try to explain. So we're having a problem with the booking. So, for example, let me explain. Let me try. Let me try to explain. I bought the ticket. I booked. I made my booking. I made my booking through booking.com, and I received confirmation of the booking, but however, the hotel is telling me that there is no record of the booking. Okay. Now, this is it. This is the sentence in a complicated way. I made my booking through booking.com and I received confirmation of the booking. However, the hotel is telling me that there is no record of the booking. Okay, so important vocabulary here. The booking of the hotel, was through booking.com, and the preposition through is really important. You always book through something. So you book your holiday through, or via, that's the alternative, a website, travel agent, or directly through the hotel, for example, okay? So that's the important preposition. You book through something. You book through an airline, you book through a website, you book through you book through the hotel, you book through a travel agent. Through is what you need. That's the first thing. Now, the second bit, received confirmation. Received confirmation means you got an email saying that your booking is good. Okay? Yes, your booking's worked. You went online, you made your booking, and you've got an email saying yes, your booking is good. It's worked. It's acknowledged, for example. However, the hotel is telling me that there is no record of the booking. So what's a record? A record of a booking? History of the booking. Okay, so those are important words that you need when trying to explain the situation. Okay, so how can we make that example easier? So let me try to explain. Let me try to explain. I booked through booking.com, got an email confirming my booking, but the hotel has no record. Please explain why. That is how you can make this easier. So let me try to explain. I booked through booking.com. I got an email confirming my booking, but the hotel has no record, no history. Please explain why. And that is how we can take something that can be quite complicated and make it simpler. Oskana, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Okay, guys, so this is now your task. You're going to have to use let me explain and then go on and you need to try and make, as before, we need to make whatever I write easier, simpler. It's going to be on the subject of booking as well. So, through missing. In okay, I think you guys will be able to do this. So can you try and make this simpler? What we need to do is, in some ways, we need to make this shorter. There are more words here than we need. So I booked through Ryanair and received an email confirming my booking. But when I arrived at the airport to check in, the airline informed me that there was no record of my booking. So it is very clear, but there are more words than there need to be. Can you guys try and make this shorter? So let me explain, make it shorter. In fact, you guys can probably make this pretty short. You booked through Ryanair, you received the confirmation, but there's no record of it with Ryanair for some reason. So you can make this short. Let's see what you guys come up with, and then we'll move on to the next problem. And the next problem is going to be a social problem. If you like, guys, you can always try and give me your own example. You can always give me your own example of maybe something that happened to you. I'm sure actually losing your luggage, that's another common problem that can happen. Delayed flights cancelling. I'm sure some of you have all experienced some problem when flying or traveling in general, or just trying to make a booking. Actually, booking online, it is easier, it is more convenient, but there are some difficulties with it, and I've experienced some difficulties, and it depends what website you go through as well. So let's see what you guys try to create, and then we'll move on to the last one, which will be a social problem, maybe like a social argument or something like that. Alejandra, I made a booking through Ryanair and then the record wasn't. Oh, you're close. You're close, Alejandra. Don't forget, you need to use let me try to explain at the beginning. I made a booking through Ryanair and then the record, you're very close. You just need to change that. You made a booking through Ryanair, but there's no record. That's what you want to say. So you're really close, Alejandro. You're very, very close. Arena says, I booked, but airline cannot find my booking. I booked, but the airline cannot, one word, find my booking. Yes, that would be good. But don't forget, you need to use let me explain at the beginning. But I see what you guys are doing, and very good stuff. Well done. Very, very well done. Okay, guys, I'm going to move on to the last one. If you want to add in your own one here after I move on, you can do. We're now going to look at a social one. And we are going to actually use an example, an actual example of what is happening in some parts of the world at the moment. And when you're talking about a difficult topic, maybe a political one, and you're trying to explain yourself, and you don't want people to misunderstand. Okay? So Evelina says, I booked a hotel room, but when I arrived, the reservation was not found. That's a very good sentence. Well done. Yes, that would make sense. You just need to put the phrase in at the beginning. So, next one. Don't get me wrong. Now, this is again is informal. I don't agree with the person, but I think they do make some interesting points. Now, what are we trying to say here? Don't get me wrong. What does this mean? Don't get me wrong. This also, more formally, we would say, please don't misunderstand me. Please don't misunderstand me. That's what we're saying, and we can use this when we're talking about any kind of problem, really. But but what we're talking about is ideas and opinions. So this is no longer to do with apartments or booking something functional. We're talking about social conversations and opinions. Okay. So this is where we could say, for example, let me give you a couple of examples, okay? So don't get me wrong. The race issues in the US, don't get me wrong, the race issues in the US are serious, but I think the person in the video says some interesting things. Okay, so what am I doing here? Don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand me. The race issue, so you define the subject that you're talking about in the US are serious, but I think the person in the video says some interesting things. Now, what do we mean by interesting things? If you say something's interesting, it doesn't mean you agree or disagree. What you're saying is that the content, point of view, or argument is interesting, and maybe it would be a good idea to talk about it. That's what we mean. Again, we can say, for instance, don't get me wrong. So let's move away from a political idea to a social idea. So, for instance, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Cristiano Ronaldo is a bad footballer. He's a very good footballer. But I think Messi is a better footballer. So this is what we're trying to do. Again, another example, don't get me wrong. Let's come up, let's say we're talking about people. So we've got two people, Dave and Kate. Okay, so don't get me wrong. Dave is a nice guy, but Kate is a better housemate. She's a better person to live with. So we can use this when we're maybe trying to compare ideas or anything of this nature. Okay, don't get me wrong. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example here, and I want you guys to try and explain it, okay, as we've done before, but you need to say, don't get me wrong, okay? Don't get me wrong. All right, so let's have a little look. Actually, I'm not going to give you too much content. I'm just going to give you a topic, something versus something, and I'll just see what you guys come out with, okay? Because I think that might be a little bit easier. So you've got, let's say, okay, so Ronaldo versus Messi. That's a nice, easy one. We can probably go with so the Trump problem in the US. That's another one. You can always use as an example. You can also use, okay, is China to blame? That's another one for COVID-19. That's another one. So let's see what you guys come out with here. You're trying to, let's just see. So we've got some examples. So don't get me wrong, Ronaldo's a very good player, but Messi's better. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Racism in America is a serious problem, but can we blame Trump for absolutely everything? Don't get me wrong. I know COVID-19 came from China, but is it fair to blame China in the way some people are? So this is how you can use it. You can use it in a question, for example. We're trying to say, it's kind of almost like a maybe. Well, what we want to try and talk about a maybe. Maybe we should talk about the idea. Another simple example, okay, we're talking about housemates, okay, flatmates, and we're using a comparison of, let's say, Dave versus Anna as flatmates. So Leondina says, don't get me wrong, I love my country, but I think Australia is an amazing land to visit. Yes, excellent, Leondina. That's a really good one. Irina says, please don't misunderstand me. I want to return to the office, but working at home is so convenient. That's a really good sentence, by the way, the Irina. The only thing is, and it's a really small thing, instead of the double colon, just put a comma. Me, comma. That's all you needed, but that's a really good sentence, and it's a great example. Well done. That's really good, actually. Please don't misunderstand me. Okay, guys, we've done some really good stuff here. Let's see what else. Maybe you would like to. Oh, Alejandra has come in. Don't get me wrong, but I think that the race issues only live in EEUU. Here there are many racism. Okay, I see what you're going for. So in terms of using the target language, Alejandra, well done. Do I understand what you're saying? Yes. Are there one or two slight mistakes? Yes, but that's not really, I'm not going, I don't, unless if you want me to tell you what the mistakes are, I'm not necessarily going to, because I do want to concentrate on the fact that I completely understand what you're trying to say. So in terms of communication, that's a yes. In terms of using the target language, that's a yes. If you want me just to correct a little bit of your sentence, that's fine. I can do that. Just let me know in the live chat if you want me to. Okay. Yeah, guys, I think some of these... so, you know what? This type of language you can use straight away. You can use this at home. You can use this with your friends, your housemates. Again, it's a bit like, let's say you're talking about food. Don't get me wrong, pineapple is nice, but pineapple on a pizza is a terrible idea. So it's a good way to make your point. Yeah, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying, actually, that's how we can develop this. So you can say, like, for instance, please don't misunderstand me. If you remember at the beginning, we started off with I'm saying. We can now do the reverse. Please don't understand me. I'm not saying that the police officer was right. He was definitely wrong. Definitely wrong. But what I'm saying is that the media, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that is how you can actually mix some things together. So please don't misunderstand me. One, I'm not saying that, and that's an important one. I'm not saying that. And when you use the negative form of this, you need to stress not. I'm not saying that the police officer was right. He was definitely wrong. Definitely wrong. What I am saying is, what I am saying is, actually, when it comes to pronunciation, that's really important. When you put negative and positive of these sentences, you need to stress the negative and positive. So you would say, what I am not saying, So in that phrase, the negative, you stress the not. I'm not saying. In the positive, you would say, I am what I am. What I am saying is. So when you put the two together, comparison one, comparison two, you need to stress when you speak the negative and the positive. It's unusual, but we call it emphasis stress because usually you don't stress am and you're not going to stress not. But when you are making a point, you need to stress. So have a go, guys. Can you try and mix two together? I'm not saying, so for example, don't get me wrong. I am not saying Ronaldo is a bad player. He is a very good player. What I am saying is that Messi is better. That is how you can do it. So feel free to, let's say, for instance, we're going to say something like, let's say your country versus Malta in terms of safety, in terms of how no, let's say in terms of, yeah, okay, fine. Safe or money, that's for example. How is the question form? What you are, okay, the question form this is, so can you tell me what, yeah, you would say, so can you tell me, yes, so can you tell me what are you saying? So that's one form. Can you tell me? So can you tell me what are you saying? What are you trying to say? That's another one. What exactly are you saying? So you've got a few options there, Alejandra. So can you tell me what are you saying? What are you trying to say? What exactly are you saying? So what are you, can you tell me, what are you saying? So saying in the first one is the stress. Number two, what are you trying to say? The stress can be on trying. So what are you trying to say? And in the last one, we're going to go with exactly. We're going to stress exactly in the third one. What exactly are you saying? So that is the question form of how you can get someone to try and explain something. So that's a good question, Alejandra. Thank you very much. Well, guys, we are now coming to the end of today's lesson. Thank you so much for joining the lesson. Please like the video if you thought this video was helpful. And I will be back next week. Monday, you will see the time. No, the time is going to be 4 o'clock. Unless for whatever reason it can't be, it should be 4 o'clock. But what I will say is you will see a post on Facebook, for example, what topics we are going to look at. If there is a topic or language point you do want me to look at, just message. Just put in a comment. I'll see it. If not, I'll do what I keep on doing anyway. But yes, thank you so much for joining today, and thank you for joining throughout the week, whether you have written or just watching or just liked. Thank you so much. Thank you, Evelina, for joining. You too, Alejandra. Have a wonderful weekend. Please like and share the video, and I will see you on Monday at 4 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining, guys. You too, Irina. Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.